Good morning. It's February 8th, 2025. We're nearing the Panama Canal, and there's a lineup of ships out there in the dark. It's 6:10 a.m. And we'll be going under the bridge about 7 and then entering the canal about 8. There's a lineup of ships. A few of the one closest seems to have exited the canal. Others a little further out are lined up to enter. As you can see, it's not dawn yet. And this is on the starboard side. Over on the port side, it's well, first of all, the sky is lightening over there. And you can see other ships. Those dots of light are the ships. And they're also part of the canal traffic this morning. Check you later. Okay, here's another quick view on the port side as a few minutes later as the skies lighten a little bit. And you can see the shipping lined up out there. Okay. Okay, now we're looking at the harbor at Colon. There's a lot of ships up in there. And I'll try to, if I can really zoom in here. Um, well, hard to focus from this distance, but straight ahead is the bridge that we're going to go under and the canal entrance beyond. We'll check that again later too. Okay, it's a little lighter still. These ships look like they've exited the canal. And again, back out there, we're now inside the breakwater, and there's that other ship traffic. Okay, right there in the center, there's a hazy glimpse of the bridge. They'll probably be there in about 15 minutes. Okay, here's back on the port side, some more exiting traffic. And that's the city of Cologne, where we were a couple days ago, 2 days ago. All right, check you later. Here comes either a pilot or the guy who may be doing the commentator stuff. So now we're up here in the spinnaker with the great seats. Dookie's up here too now. And so here we are. not so rapidly, but approaching the Atlantic Bridge, which is, let's see, I can't believe that's more than a mile in front of us at this point. So we'll be going under that in a little bit. It's a fairly new bridge. This kind of span is a relatively new design. I don't know how old it is. Okay, another quick look at the port, and the sun is up over the horizon already.
It's more east and west.
Okay, so we're very near the
Panama
bridge at this
City
point,
that is
and we
located
have
over the Pacific side.
a commentator who's going to
It's the only
speak
city
throughout the canal
on
passage.
the American continent
You can hear him in the
where you can actually
background.
see that the sun rises over the Pacific and it sets over on the Caribbean side. We are about to be going under the brand new Atlantic Bridge.
Brand new.
It's about 3 miles across the canal, the Panama Canal. This is the first one that we are about to be going under before we exit into the waters of the Pacific Ocean late this afternoon. It was necessary to be built so that we could accommodate the larger vessels using the Panama Canal today. With the construction of these two new locks, the aguas claras or clear water locks that we have on the left-hand side of the two locks, and over the Pacific side is the Cocoli locks, is on the west bank of the Panama Canal. So with the construction of these two new locks, many changes had to be made to accommodate those ships in about 160 different countries. So with these new locks, tremendous amount of changes has been done in the maritime industry.
Almost underneath.
At the new locks, we have new locks. Many nations were involved.
Going under the bridge.
The total project manager, Cecil of Spain, was in charge of the entire project. The construction of the gates in Italy was done by the Infrahilo Italian organization. The transport of the gates from Italy
A lot of water under
to the
this
new
bridge.
locks is done by the
There we
Dutch.
go.
Irema construction company. They transported the gates and they also installed the gates. It was done by the Dutch. The deepening of
And we're through.
the
We're under.
the new
Whatever you
channel
call it.
and also the original channel was done by Jean Denal of Belgium.
On to the
But the
locks.
designing of the new locks was done by the USA. And we are about to pass by buoy 16 coming up on our starboard side on the west bank. You're going to be able to see the original
This
French
ship is exiting the
sea
canal.
level canal that goes a few miles into the jungle. It is also important to know that when Christopher Columbus arrived at this country, when the French arrived here in Panama, they went into excavation and worry very little about sanitation. So because the high rate of mortality from the French engineers of an outstanding record of service,
Here comes a pilot
we
boat.
very seldom have
Yeah.
a breakdown. Preventive maintenance
And
that
there's
goes on in this canal
a ship
365
up
days a
in
year.
there. Hard to see here, but
Now,
we'll check it again.
each ship taking
Of
about
course,
16
this
hours
side is the original
to
lock.
transit the waterway.
Side.
And
That
remember,
side
they are
is
still
the
designing ships
new larger locks that were built
with the requirements of the
in the
law
last couple of decades
of the
for
Panama Canal.
the much larger ships.
So right now, since we're getting closer,
So you can catch it. Gates of the lock right in the middle, retracting, and that ship behind it will be coming forward. So the ship there, slightly to the left of middle. The red and black prow is emerging from the lock on the Atlantic side. And I guess we'll be heading in there after that.
spillways at the dam, the 14 gate spillway, and the water flows right down the Chagres River
That tug
Valley,
was
right
coming
out
for
into the Caribbean
us.
Sea.
In front of us.
And most of the hydroelectric power
We're in
produced in the
line
canal
for
comes
the
from
right
this Gatun dam.
side, I believe.
In fact, the canal
On the left side,
sells
this
power to Panama.
ship with the red
And
bottom has come
also
out of that,
purify
that
water
lock,
in the
and
canal, and
behind
also
it,
we sell water to the city of Panama. So right now we're just
behind it,
slowing down,
two locks back.
and we are waiting
See
until the ship ahead of us
that gray
enters
ship
the middle lock chamber,
ready
and the
to
water
come from
is let out into the ocean,
the second lock into the
and they
first
open up
lock.
the gates again so that we can start
Coming
our
from
lackage
Gatun.
through this the
Left
two
side is coming
locks
from Gatun Lake.
until we
Right side
enter the waters of the
will
large.
be heading and going to Gatun
It
Lake.
took about 4 years to fill this lake. 4 years to fill this lake. Remember, the Panama Canal is one of the. We're slowing down, I should say, or we're just waiting until.
Okay, so now we got a glimpse of the little rail tug type things. This guy's turning around on the turntable to line up to help bring us forward. There's that ship that came out. The lock behind it. The next lock elevated. Ready for that ship back there to be lowered and come into that lock. The smaller ship in front of us. The Birgit is entering the lock, and then after a little bit we'll see those gates close behind it. Way up in front of it is a auto carrier that's already in the next lock. So on the left side, the second set of gates are opening to let that gray hulled ship in. And on the right, the Birgit, the small ship that's sitting there. Any second now, those gates will probably close behind it.
Feeling home.
So we got the crew out on the bow of the ship that we've been looking at that came through a little bit ago. Wave to the people.
So we can see
Gates are closing.
the smallest sets of gates of the Panama Canal closing at the stern of the bulk carrier that we have in front of us. These are the smallest sets of gates in the canal. And the reason why, because of the 8 to 10 inches tide that we have on the Caribbean side of the waterway. The other gates weigh 690 tons, and the largest sets of gates at the original locks are over the Pacific side. Each section weighs 730 tons. The reason why? Because we have a 22 feet tide on the Pacific side of Panama. So the tides are different. The levels are the same. We want to go up 85 feet. And when we get over the Pacific side of the Pacific locks, we go down 85 feet. Up 85, down 85. The levels are the same. The tides are different.
And the gates are about to close. The ship on the left is starting to emerge into that side from coming out from its previous lock.
We had an extended drought.
At this point in the
We were very concerned
two
about the
locks
water
in front of us
situation.
on either side,
In fact, we had to
the water's
reduce
about
the
equalized.
draft allowance
Again,
of
the one on the
ships
right
entering
is
canal
the lane
waters,
that we're
and
going to
we
take
had
to the
to try
Gatun
to
lakes.
arrange to have as
And the
much
one on the left, he's going to
tandem
emerge
lockage
and
as possible.
come out to the sea.
When we say tandem lockage, it means
You can, on the left side, you can see the water draining from the lock as that one is going to lower so that the ship on the left with the red bottom and the gray on the top of the hull will be, that water will equalize and he'll be able to come out of there. And in the meantime, this guy in front of us, he's going to proceed to the next lock. And then it'll be our turn. So that's still draining here to lower that ship on the left. And maybe you can catch a glimpse in the wall of that canal. Definitely the water is lowered and you can see essentially the drain holes on the side.
and the water is rushing out through the side culvert right out into the ocean. And the vessel that we have ahead of us is now entering the middle chamber. So very shortly, we are about to be going in to the lock chamber itself, and then we're going to start moving up in 3 stages up into the Gatun lake level.
So, quite obviously, there we're looking at a picture of the 2 locks. A little while ago, both those ships were approximately at the same level. The much larger ship has dropped, and the gate will open shortly. And the smaller one in front of us is higher up, sitting higher up. The one on the left is named the Athena. All right, we'll keep going. Okay, so again, in front of us, in front of that Birgit small ship, was a large auto carrier, mostly blue with a white top. That top was roughly level with the the top of the control tower there, with that little red sort of triangle peak cap on it, and now it's much higher. It's been elevated because it's in the further on lock. So he's getting ready to move on to the next one, and as is the Brigitte, and we're going to enter here shortly. Okay, now the Athena on the left. You can see the gates reopening, retracting. There they go. And he will be pulling out of here. Meanwhile, this petrol is floating around in the sky. But there go the gates. And the Brigitte is pulling into the next lock in our lane. So in a few minutes we'll be entering. But there go the gates for Athena on the left. Gates are closing.
You notice when we open up the gates how the hand rating has been taken down so the gates can go flush right into the lock wall. So right now we are closing the gates at the stern of the ship. Each section weighing 690 tons. And remember, all the gates in the Panama Canal are the same gates from 1914 until now. So after they close the gates, water from the lower chamber is going to be let out. And then they open up the gates in front of us. And then we're going to go in for to start our lackage up into the lake level. So right.
So we're getting ready to enter this lock.
You had to pay attention. You couldn't.
The small ship in front of us is already in the next lock. And the big auto carrier that was in front of that is way up there. Looks like he's getting ready to pull into Gatun Lake. And a big ship is coming the other direction on the left. So the lock on the left is dropped. You can get a decent look at the two sets of drain holes along the wall. It's all done by gravity. Pretty amazing. Gates are opening on the left lane. That big ship coming our way. And our locks are going to open here any minute. Alright, there's one of the little engine type guide machines that's coming along our side. They're going to help pull us through. There's rails on both sides, as we have seen. That big ship on the left is almost fully into that lock, and we're still looking for our gates to open. Okay, our gates are opening, and we will be entering the lock. There we go. We'll watch. We'll keep an eye on this.
And the vessel that we have on the far side, it's an automobile carrier. We have a lot of right into the lock wall. So as we enter the lower lock chamber, once again, they are going to be closing the gates at the stern of our ship. Remember, these are the smallest sets of gates in the canal that are going to be closing at the stern of our vessel. And the reason, the reason why. Again, I do want to re-emphasize no pumping whatsoever into the operation of this Panama Canal. It is also important to know that after
I
we
want
cleared
to
the
get
locks
into the next one.
Okay.
and we entered
And
the
then we
lake,
can go up breakfast, wherever. To
there
the
were
upstairs.
14 villages and town sites that had to be evacuated and relocated to form this enormous lake at the top of the mountains.
So the gates are opening for the auto carrier on the left side. We're continuing to pull into the right side. The gate's closed behind the small ship in front of us. Um, we'll stick around for a while till we get up into the next lock. Then we may take a breakfast break.